A teenage girl walked into a police station begging for help. She said her missing mother was a Navy SEAL, but the officer laughed and dismissed her story. Moments later, the entire room froze when a decorated SEAL commander walked in. What city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. It was late afternoon at the small-town police station, the kind where the clock ticked louder than the phones rang. A teenage girl, no older than 16, sat nervously in a chair across from a stone-faced officer. Her clothes were dusty, her hands trembling as she held onto a worn backpack. She had walked all the way here because she didn't know where else to go. "My mom, she's missing," the girl said softly, her voice cracking. "She's not just anyone. She's a Navy SEAL. Please, you have to help me." The officer leaned back in his chair, his expression shifting from boredom to disbelief. He let out a dry laugh and shook his head. "Kid, I've heard a lot of stories in my time, but this one takes the cake. A Navy SEAL? Your mom? Come on now. Just tell me the truth." The girl's eyes burned with tears. She wanted to scream, but her voice stayed low, fragile. "I'm not lying. She always told me if something happened, I had to come here. I had to ask for help, but the officer wasn't listening anymore." He scribbled something half-heartedly on a notepad, then tossed it aside. "Look, I don't know who filled your head with this fantasy, but SEALs are men. Tough, trained, elite men. You expect me to believe some woman, your mother, is one of them? I don't have time for fairy tales." The girl's throat tightened. All her life, her mother had told her stories, not of glory, but of sacrifice, of what it meant to serve. She had medals tucked away in a drawer, photos locked inside a box, scars hidden beneath her sleeves. But now, when she needed someone to believe her the most, she was met with nothing but mockery. The officer stood, shaking his head. "Go home, kid. Don't waste our time." She wanted to leave, but her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Never back down when the truth is on your side." So she stayed. Silent tears slipped down her cheeks, her knuckles white from gripping her backpack straps. And then, the door to the station opened. Every conversation in the room stopped. The air seemed to change, heavy and sharp. Boots echoed on the tile floor, and the officer turned to see a figure entering, a tall woman in full uniform, her insignia gleaming under the dim lights. She moved with the presence of command, every step deliberate, her eyes cold and steady, locked onto the officer. The teenage girl's breath caught. "Mom!" she whispered. The officer's smirk vanished, his face draining of color. The woman carried the unmistakable authority of someone who had walked through fire and returned. She didn't need to raise her voice. The silence was enough. The SEAL commander stopped beside her daughter, resting a firm, protective hand on her shoulder. "You dismissed her story," she said, her voice low but cutting like steel. "That was your first mistake." The officer stammered, unable to form words. The commander leaned closer, her eyes never blinking. The second mistake was underestimating who she belongs to. Around the room, even the other officers shifted uncomfortably, recognizing the weight of her presence. The teenage girl stood a little taller now, her mother's hand steadying her, her heart swelling with pride. She no longer felt small or ignored. The commander's gaze swept the room one last time. "Next time, listen. Heroes don't always look the way you expect." And with that, she led her daughter out of the station, leaving behind an officer who would never forget the day he dismissed the wrong story, only to be silenced by the truth. Thanks for being here till the end. If this story moved you, give it a like, subscribe for more real moments, and share your thoughts. I read every comment.